Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
For the most part, though, I think we've all behaved in a reasonable manner, and it's all been pretty copacetic, and I think we've grown both as radio broadcasters and as human beings.
Reporting live from Seussical the Musical.
Oh, I love that.
Adam Gilson.
It's a peanut butter shake.
Oh, my goodness.
Peanut butter
What?
shake. Yes, peanut butter shake, India Pale Ale.
It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live.
Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 71st episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you by Inside Foos, offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, plus live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Sign up now at InsideFoos.com. Also brought to you by ProtectoFlex, the world's premier foosball safety accessory. Go to Protecto-Flex.com. Brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com. Brought to you by Foosballers the Movie. This Joe Hessling of Foosball documentary now available as a worldwide download at foosballersthemovie.com. Also brought to you by the USTSO, helping to usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member at usafoosball.com. And brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the United States. Visit foosballclubsusa.com to make a donation today. Well, hey there, it's Tom Robinson. We're back together again for another Sunday evening of foosball chat. And you know, talking about foosball is always much more interesting when you have somebody else to talk about it with, which would include the greatest play-by-play foosball announcer of all time, Jim Stevens. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, Tom. Thank you. And hello to everybody. Hey, Tom, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, always good to hear your voice on a Sunday evening. We always have such fun here at FoosTalk Live talking foosball. And what better week to talk foosball in this upcoming week when we've got two of the biggest tournaments in the world taking place on the same weekend, one here in the United States, one in Germany.
Right.
Of course, we'll be in all of us, the FoosTalk Live team will be in Lexington, Kentucky here this week, and I'll be there Tuesday night, actually.
Tuesday.
As we, 7 days and 8 nights in beautiful Lexington, Kentucky.
Wow.
I feel like I just won on Wheel of Fortune.
So,
but it's going to be fun.
I got to wonder, Jim, how in the world do you get yourself psyched up for that? I mean, that's a long time to be out on the road and to be in, Lexington is a beautiful place, but man, you got to focus heavily for 7 days. How do you do that?
It's something I guess I've been able to do over just from experience, building up the stamina to do these sorts of things. On the one hand, I'm excited about it. There is no better tournament, no better action anywhere in the world than at the Tornado Worlds, where we will be in Kentucky. On the other hand, it's a bear. You know, it's very long days. It's 14, 16-hour days, 7 or 8 of them. And, it is. It's a marathon, not only for the players. So, if you're a player out there, you know what it is. If you get in there on Wednesday, you start playing Wednesday and you're still playing Monday night, that's 6 full days of and I do mean full days of playing foosball, which we all love, but it can really take its toll as well. So you have to balance it. You have to make sure you take care of yourself. You have to hydrate. And kind of take it easy in the first few nights, kind of ease your way in, make sure you get your sleep, et cetera.
Well, there's always, an occasional IPA to kind of keep you going. That never hurts.
Absolutely. Then this particular hotel now, in the past, this hotel's bar has not had an IPA. Now, that's been a bone of contention. However, you walk about 100 feet just down the road to a gas station that has a walk-in beer cave that has probably 80 different IPAs. And so that's always pretty neat. And then, however, we're going to be busy working. We're going to be, of course, enjoying ourselves as well. But this is a job to do. And speaking of jobs to do, we got one to do tonight, and it's going to be another great show as we kind of work our way into this World Championship weekend. And we're going to have a chance to talk with a world champ or two tonight, on the show, and kind of get their views. See this amazing championship event through the eyes of a world champion.
And I wanted to know. I really want to know how they get prepared as well. I'm sure they'll be sharing some inside secrets as far as the stamina thing goes, and of course playing for the entire weekend. It's that'll be really interesting to hear more about that. And of course, we do have lots of, newbies running around here. In fact, he's considered a master of egg rolls and also becoming a master of foosball play-by-play. All the way from California, please welcome Adam Gilson. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Jim. Good to be here.
Are you still? Is he still a newbie?
I don't think
I don't think so.
No, he's a month and a half, 2 months in. You're no longer a newbie.
No longer.
I got my lumps. I have my lumps. I've got my. Although I did have a little pause when you said 14, 16-hour work days. Is that?
Yes.
Was that? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I got to
I gotta recalibrate then.
Yeah, you may be right about that. Maybe you don't lose your newbie status until after you work.
If I can get if I get out of Worlds, okay. That's good. I used to work Ren fairs, so I fear nothing, but I don't know. We'll see. You
fear nothing. I love that. Well, we'll just see about that.
And we'll get into that whole Ren Fair thing. Of course, he means Renaissance fairs, which are certainly timeless.
They are.
And so there's some correlations there for sure.
I believe there are.
There has to be. And I think you and I have actually discussed that in the past. But also that great event, 24 hours of world record setting foosball last Thursday and Friday, starting in Germany and going all the way around the world and ending up in Asia. A great event put on by those folks. And hopefully we can get back and break that record next year.
So bring us up to speed, Jim. Don't keep us in suspense. What was the tally finally? How many people?
You're really asking me this question. Really, this was not in the pre-show notes. What you do is you get the ComKicker app, the PlayFoos app. Go get that, and all the stats are on there. In fact, it's an amazing app. You have locations on there, of course, monster DYP type events on there, and lots of great foosball information. Kind of another app, and there's been a few of them, and they've worked for the most part. But eventually, there is going to be an app, and maybe this is it. Man. It kind of brings us all, ties everything together, right? In all the different ways we can imagine. And so just get your ComKicker and PlayFoos app on your iPhone or other types of mobile devices, and you get all those stats there. But thanks for asking.
So just because Jim did a masterful job of deflecting, but I'm looking at the thing here. It ended up with about 1,905 overall players. I don't even know how to say it. They got close to times by 10 the world record, I guess, if that's the best way to say that. And they had 166 venues, which is close to quadrupling the world.
166 venues and 1,900 players?
Yeah.
Wow.
But Germany had the most amount of players to that time, followed by United States.
Cool.
Russia was number 2, and the United States number 3. So, yeah, that's just amazing.
Man, that's impressive to say the least. Adam, you're just breaking up just a little bit there. You're a little choppy in your signal. Are you on your phone, or where are you at?
I think that's his actual voice, Tom. But
I just get so nervous talking to you. I'm not sure. I've got my regular setup. Does it sound?
Yeah, no, it just has a little. Jimmy, you're noticing that as well?
I am, and I was wondering if it was me. I actually ran a quick speed test on mine, and it came up good. So I was. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Adam, and try to relax. Just try to relax, Adam. Don't be so nervous.
I've been drinking coffee.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yeah, it's the caffeine. Hey, man, can't blame you for that. You got to stay awake somehow. But so all this talk about world records, of course, works up a mighty thirst. What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA. And Jim, so you're getting ready for the big worlds. What is it you're doing to prepare?
I am. And I mentioned that beer cave at the gas station next door to the Clarion there in Lexington. And I walked in there one day a few years ago, and I saw this beer from Brooklyn, New York. From the 6 Point Brewery in Brooklyn, which I've now come to find is a legendary brewery.
They are.
But I pulled this off the shelf. It was in a 4-pack. It was not cheap. It is actually it's called the Atomic Res. Res, of course, for resin. The Atomic Res out of 6 Point Brewery. It's a triple. Yes, I said triple IPA.
Wow.
Yes.
We're gonna have a show tonight.
11.8% alcohol by volume. Here's a breakdown, real quick breakdown. Going inside the hop cone to extract its precious content. This is the essence of resin. Hop hash takes the concept to its realized extreme, as pure lupulin collected during pelletization is preserved.
The essence.
This is like reading Dr. Seuss here, and I know Adam's a big fan. It's then frozen with liquid nitrogen and shattered into the beer during dry hopping. How about that?
Wow.
The result is a chain reaction of hop intensity going off in every sip. Experience pure juice at the atomic level. I have not had a sip of this in a couple of years, but my memory of it puts it in the top 5 all time for me. And I'm going to see if that remains as I crack open a 16-ounce can.
I heard that.
I was fortunate to find it here at my local brewery, local brew store. Oh, boy.
Still good?
Oh, it's better than good.
Triple.
It's a triple. Yeah, it's amazing. It is, something that a lot of times your doubles and triples are your best IPAs. And in this case, it doesn't get much better than the 6 Point Brewery Atomic Revs out of Brooklyn, New York.
Ooh, I like that. And Adam, what do you have for us this evening?
Well, let me get a sound check. Do I sound the same or a little better?
Now you sound much better.
Okay, I closed some programs.
Just like
all
that.
right. So I got to tell you, I'm still an IPA newbie. I'll admit to that.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I do agree with that.
There's still a lot out there, and I'm still stuck on these hazies. But I can tell you, I've had quite a few hazies from different places, and I've been really enjoying the Pacific Northwest hazies that I've had.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And this one caught my eye. It's called Elysian Contact Haze.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of Seattle, Washington.
Cool.
And it says, the day of the world stood still, and Elysian brewed a hazy IPA. Rules were broken to bring you contact haze, a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma.
Explosion.
So, yeah. Anytime they say explosion, I got to have a sip, though, and see.
Of course.
Speaking of haze, did you know that Jimi Hendrix, so Purple Haze fame, is also from Seattle?
Is he really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I've had that beer, actually, and it's quite good.
It's good.
Does some nice work. They do some nice work.
This is as mild of a IPA as I've ever had. It's definitely I can definitely taste the passion fruit, and there's a little bit of guava hanging out in there.
Jeez.
This is good. I would buy this again.
All right.
Absolutely.
Smuggle a couple of those into your carpet bag and
I'll
bring
see
them
what
to
I can do.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Love it. Well, I'm staying East Coast as always. When it comes to the IPA this week, it's a double IPA.
Oh, here we go.
And it comes from New Jersey this time. It's called it's a Bricks City Brewing, but this is an all black can with white lettering, and it's called Ill Street Blues. And
like
we're going to give this one a go over. There's really no other description other than it's Ill Street Blues.
Okay.
Oh, I can
Sounds
smell
like
it already.
Out of New Jersey.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Sounds like the kind of IPA Frank Sinatra or Bruce Springsteen would enjoy.
It's a double. Told you.
Excuse one of us.
Oh, it's okay. We're among friends. Mostly.
And no LaCroix to be found.
And so we have to propose a toast to our honor group of the week this week. And this has a lot to do with the current situation in the state of Louisiana. So we want to certainly drink hearty and a hearty toast to all our foosball brethren and sisterin in Louisiana who are undergoing the tongue lashing from Ida.
Yeah, that's brutal. And of course, we know how much they all love to have a good time down there. So we're going to help to have a little good time with you.
Oh, yeah.
As things are getting kind of serious down there, and hopefully everybody's going to be okay and get to the other side of it. And those that are coming to Tornado Worlds or Tornado Championships, hopefully you'll get through it and get up there as well.
Please be safe.
Here's to you.
Cheers.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what, guys, this is amazing. Worlds to the rear of us, worlds to the front of us. I mean, worlds all over the place here. I mean, it's an international thing going on, and loving the vibe. Just reminiscing a bit about Texas State's going to that. Well, the first big tournament that I've gone to, actually. I understand it's going to be even bigger.
It is, yeah. It's going to be where I would be surprised if there are fewer than 600 players in attendance in this upcoming week, and then there'll be another 500 plus at the Leonhard Worlds and over in Germany. So it's an amazing foosball weekend. Inside Foos is going to be covering all of it for you.
Right.
In fact, we'll be live with the Tornado Championship starting Wednesday, and then right on through Thursday. Adam will get in Thursday, you'll get in Friday, and we'll have the whole crew there. Everybody's coming. and it should be a lot of fun. And Tom, looking forward to kind of living vicariously through you and your first World Championship. And we're going to talk about our World Championship memories here in a little bit tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to this in the sense too that we're going to be broadcasting 3 separate times for FoosTalk Live during the weekend. Once on Saturday, once on Sunday, and again on Monday to wrap things up. But
that's brilliant.
Yep, really looking forward to that, and stepping up and really getting a chance to chat with folks. Hopefully, some of the stars and some of the other folks that are there, just like myself, who are just kind of like beginners and just getting an idea as to what this is like and get their impressions as well. So, looking forward to all of that.
For sure.
Hey, and Tom, I'm excited to hear.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm excited to hear this is your first Worlds. I didn't realize that. That's great.
Yeah. No, it's I've been to Kentucky for the TKO or the tour opener, but this is something that altogether
it's another beast.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So it really is. And by the way, folks, those of you out there listening, we'd love to hear from you. Of course, our special guest tonight, we'll give it away. It's Liz Hill-Moore, a world champion. We're going to talk about her world championship experiences, but we'd love to hear from you as well. This is a talk radio show. Give us a call. Use the Podbean app and get your opinions in, any questions you might have for us or Liz or anything else as we head into an amazing week of foosball here in the United States and in Europe as well.
Indeed.
So we'd love to hear from you, folks. Just on that Podbean app, it's easy to do. Just press call, I think is all you do.
Just make sure you have a pair of headphones on, and we're good to go with that. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. Let's listen. Let's do this. Let's go back a bit in time. I think it's time to reminisce.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live Flashback.
And put into play by Robertson, who strokes it home. It is World Championship point for Blake Robertson and Liz Moore. Mares will put it into play. Championship point for Robertson and Moore. And some defense played there by Robertson. Comes back to Liz. It's 4-3 here in the third. And up the table and in for Liz Moore. And there it is. Blake Robertson and Liz Moore win the 2019 Tornado World Mixed Doubles Championship. What a great performance by those two. The first ever Tornado World title for Blake Robertson. The first one in 19 years in mixed doubles for Liz Moore. And in the year 2019, put it on the banner for next year. It's Blake Robertson and Liz Moore who are the mixed doubles champions.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live.
So that was 2019, and Jim, you sounded just as young as you do today.
That's amazing, isn't it? Considering the last 2 years, that's remarkable. And also, you heard me at the end there as well say, well, put it on the banner for next year. Well, that next year never happened, did it? So it's put it on the banner for 2 years, and that's where we are. We're 2 years later now. It's going to be on the banner, and what a great performance by Blake and Liz, who really proved themselves to be, certainly one of the great mixed doubles teams of this era. They've had some other success as well.
Sure.
I believe they won a Texas State championship. Liz will set me straight if I'm wrong on that.
And they were playing Robert.
What a great memory.
They were playing Robert Morris in that particular match, correct?
They were, and Hannah Smith, the outstanding player out of Mississippi, as well in that final. Morris making it to another world final. And it's rare to see Robbie get to a final in mixed doubles. It isn't something he's ever really focused on. Obviously, great forward, great goalie, great player. But to see him get to a final in mixed was pretty cool. But hard to stop a team as potent as Blake and Liz, who put in the final point there. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that when she comes on.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that, to say the least. And I know that we're going to talk about some great memories. But first of all, before we get into our top five, I was just wondering. Let's look into the crystal ball briefly here, and I'm certainly going to ask both of you here. So, Jim, give us an idea. What kind of surprises do you think might be waiting for such a deep field, as many as 600 players, obviously showing up in Lexington? What kind of what do you think might be the most surprising event?
That's hard to say. Oftentimes it's it's when an amateur player does really well, maybe in a pro event, or when an expert does well in an open event, which often does happen. Obviously, you expect the pros to do pretty well, but when a pro team or a pro player gets into that top five of the open events, which certainly could happen.
Sure.
I believe Brandon Munoz, a guy that I think I predicted was going to reach the final. And I think sometimes you just throw predictions out there, and if they work, you look great. If they don't, nobody remembers. But maybe that's it. Maybe an overachievement like that. The other thing that's going to be interesting, and I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but the fact that really a lot of the players who will be there are maybe a little bit out of shape in terms of tournament play. Maybe they've been spending the last year and a half at home practicing and training on their own tables. But as far as tournament play goes, there may be a little rustiness, entering this event. But we'll see. And maybe, in terms of stamina, it's kind of something you have to build up. We talked about it earlier, having to compete for 5 or 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's tough. And especially maybe if your finals are held on that final day. Somehow you've got to dig deep and be able to compete at the highest level, despite the fact that you're probably dead tired. So all of these things are going to come into play. Surprises, I'm always ready for anything, and because every tournament's different, the way things all play out, it seems to be different in every case, except in the open singles event at the Worlds. But I would be surprised, I suppose, if Tony Spreadman lost.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that's a very interesting way to look at it. And Adam, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with Jim 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to predict the upsets or the unpredictable, obviously, because that's what makes them upsets. But, certainly we've seen in the last couple tournaments, just the different names of the amateurs, the pros that are coming up. You've got Brandon Munoz, of course. There's Evan McGregor.
Yeah.
Like these kids that have fire, they have ability, they have talent. There's the old maxim: anybody can beat anybody on any given day. Who knows? We really don't know. And I think that's the excitement. I think for me, that's the focus for that week, is you have so many people playing. You have so many variables. There's going to be stories everywhere, every day, every hour. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So what they are, I could not predict, but I can tell you, I'm there for it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be great to have Adam there too. Really his first Worlds as a broadcaster. The other thing I won't be surprised with is how well the Costa Rican team does.
Oh yeah.
They're going to make a showing. They always do. I guarantee they will again this time. In all the different events, they're just so strong, so consistent.
And I understand.
Also,
I was just chatting the other night about the Costa Rican team. They have more people showing up this time from Costa Rica who are lower ranked, but no less better players than a lot of other folks. So I'm interested to see what these other folks, when they show up, how they do.
They showed up a few years ago, and it was remarkable. Yep.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to hearing Jim talking about that sweaty garage in Costa Rica. I love
that.
I love when you talk.
I'll break it out. I promise.
You should. No, the imagery just gets my skin all goosebumpy.
Now I'm gonna walk the plank here and say that I believe, and this is just because, but I believe that a very young lady is may make a great showing. I think she might even take expert singles again. Sullivan Rue.
Maybe even pro singles. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And in fact, we're going to be talking. Clay Tumey's talking with Sully later in the show tonight. We're going to close out the show with a nice interview that Clay did with Sullivan Rue a few weeks ago. So looking forward to that.
Don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. I think we can expect great things certainly from Sully.
Can't wait to see what happens. It's just the anticipation. But now it's time for the top 5. Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres. And I've been meaning to get around to taking Mark's name out of there and putting Adam Gilson's name in there because, well, you're the one showing up. So Adam, let's hear about.
Well, you've got a job. You've got a job. You've got a day job. I mean, it's okay.
We'll get
I don't
it.
mind.
We'll get it. But
anytime I hear Mark's name, it gets me fired up to do something. So.
I like that. Yeah. Okay.
So,
hey, Tom, can you please cue Barbara Streisand's version of "The Way We Were"? Memories. We're talking memories tonight, folks, and we're talking about Adam and my memories of World Championship experiences. And this was one that was really, really difficult for me. I went to my first World Championship in 1986 on the Dynamo table, and then started, with Inside Foos now 28 years ago. And so that's a lot of World Championships to go through. And I came up with 8 or 9 or 10 or 15 of them that really had great memories.
Wow.
And it was tough to kind of distill them down to the final 5. Hopefully I've done that. But it really did stir up a lot of emotions. Certainly a lot of great memories for me looking back on, this event, which we always, when that would come around each year, when we'd start to get into August and we knew the Tornado World Championships were coming on Labor Day weekend. I mean, there was nothing like it. You could sense it with everybody out on tour, obviously with those of us with Inside Foos, how exciting this event was and how excited we were to be attending it. So this should be fun.
Well, so Adam, shall we begin? You got yourself all lined up. You got 5 in a row here for us. All right, here we go.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
So, okay. All right. So, Tom, when you were talking about this is going to be your first Worlds, it's just really just struck home with me, my number 5. You know, I live in Southern California. I live in Ventura. I live about a half a mile from the beach, and it is heavenly. It was 72 degrees today, nice breeze. It was just, the weather is always just amazing here. And the first Worlds I ever went to was back when I first started really traveling, was with Foosball back in 2003. And it was at the Dallas-Fort Worth, the airport. And the first thing, the Hyatt, and the first thing, the only thing that I really remember, actually the second thing that I remember, number 4 is the first thing I remember from that weekend, and that's something else completely different, was I played Federico Collignon for the first time in open singles. And he cleaned the floor with me. Like it was like, I think I was so nervous because and I talk about this a lot when we're doing our broadcasts. It's like when somebody's reputation precedes them, they are already living rent free in your head. And I learned a lot from just losing in that regard, but also, and I'm not going to say it just yet, but it leads into my number 1. But for me, my number 5 was playing him, getting schooled by him, and then talking to him for 10 minutes afterwards, and him telling me what he saw, the things that he saw that were good, the things that he saw that were bad. So I cannot, and to me, that what makes a true champion, not just so much what you do on the table, but what you do off the table. So for me, number 5, Collignon, cleaning my clock.
That's awesome. And that really, that is, he sees the game like no one else does, right? So if he's giving an assessment of your game, you are listening very, very closely. No question about it. My number 5 but it's my most recent one. It's the 2016 World Championships when the team from Foosballers was there shooting it. There was that. Obviously, that was part of it. But the other part of it is, and it's documented in the movie, was Todd Lafredo's performance. All right, he's in playing singles. He's playing Ryan Moore, and he does something and hurts his arm. Right, and many of you remember this. Hurts his arm in the losers bracket final. Still reaches the final. Loses to Tony in the open singles final. He also reached the mixed doubles final that year. And then he plays doubles, right? He's scheduled to play with Scotty Weidman, his longtime partner. They won back-to-back world championships in 94 and 95 together. But because of his arm, because he really can't shoot a pull shot, he says, Scotty, you get up there. You're playing forward in this open doubles competition. And again, as Adam mentioned earlier, the competition level at this event is so deep, right? There's so many good players, so many good teams. Well, he and Scotty get all the way to the finals, with Lafredo scoring 2 or 3 a game, most of them banks, while mixing in some beautiful straights and pull kicks and other things. And Weidman just doing his thing. He's always had a great 5 and just hitting straights and splits and getting in people's heads. Amazing performance by Todd Lafredo, and maybe the last great performance we have seen from Lafredo. Not that he hasn't been great, but the last, transcendent type performance. But the other thing, too, with the Foosballers crew there, but they were set up right next to us. They had a little room right next to us there in the Inside Foos booth where they had their production center. They had cameramen all over the place. Obviously, one of the things I remember most is that there could be no background music while they were shooting, right? And generally, we count on that background music to where the players and people don't hear us commentating. Wow. So it was completely quiet in there. It had to be quiet, obviously, for reasons because of the music being in the background of this movie. And so my play-by-play, and if you listen to it in the movie, is much more like a golf announcer. Here's Lafredo setting it up and cranking it off that inside wall. And
strokes it home.
Strokes it home. And so it's more of an FM radio sort of call. But that's my memory. It was a great time getting to hang out with Joe Hessling and his crew. They were also awesome. Just the energy that was there that weekend. Everybody knew this when they were shooting the movie. It was a big deal to everybody. The level of intensity was off the hook. But for me, that's my number 5. 2016 Tornado Worlds, the year of Foosballers and the year of Todd, finishing second in all 3 major open events while doing it one-armed, at least in open doubles.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 4.
So this is the first memory that I have of my first Worlds. And this is a little bit non-foosball related, but it happens to be related to foosball because I was at a Worlds tournament. But I was out there. The reason why I got to go is because my very good friend sponsored me to go. But she didn't play. She just said, let's go out there. And so we were out there just hanging out, playing. I was playing foosball. She was just checking out everything else that was going on. And then like the second night, like you're just starving because it's in an airport. So there's not, I mean, in that area, so there's like really nowhere you could go get food. So we had to do room service. And I'm looking at the menu and I'm thinking, man, everything is like 20 something bucks. This is ridiculous. And mind you, I'm 21, 22 years old. I have never traveled much. This is ridiculous. And she's looking a little apprehensive. And I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just get a little bit of everything. And I remember we got the lava cake. We got 2 different desserts. We got a couscous. We got a couscous pouch. This thing was like, it was puff pastry with huge, like, what do they call that? The pearl couscous inside with some kind of weird curry sauce. Probably 4 different things. It was like something
Israeli,
from
it's Israeli couscous.
Israeli couscous, and it was something out of I don't know, like Harry Potter. I don't know. There was just the 2 of us, and like we barely ate much of it. But the fact that we ordered it, I have to tell you, as far as the growth as a player that weekend playing with Collignon, growth as a person when I just was doing like adult stuff, like ordering room service, was such a huge memory. It's the only other thing I remember for that tournament. I didn't do very well otherwise. I was out of everything in 2 or 3.
Grown up.
Right, I know. Yeah, now I bring my own food.
Yeah, right. Your own curry.
Yeah, that's my number 4. Is that couscous pouch and those 3 desserts for 2 people.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I remember the room service menu from that hotel, and my number 4 also kind of has to do with that hotel, the Hyatt. Yeah, right, smack dab in the middle of DFW Airport, one of the biggest airports in the world. I think in terms of area, it might be number 1 or certainly top 5. And this hotel right in the center of it. It used to be, there was 2 hotels. In fact, in '95, when I'm going to talk about it, 1995 Tornado Worlds, there were 2. There was a west and an east Hyatt. And we were in the east of hotel, and this is 12, 14 stories on each side, and there was this long kind of tunnel between them that you'd walk down, and there was actually a restaurant or 2 down on the other side. But 1995 was the first year that it was held at the Hyatt Hotel. Previous to that, previous 7, 8 years, it had been over in Grapevine, just north of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport at the Hilton Hotel. But they moved it in '95 to this huge ballroom, still maybe the biggest ballroom I've seen at any hotel. Just monstrous. Had to have been 20,000 square feet.
Wow.
And there were 200 foosball tables in there. And I'm there early. So I'm there watching them. I'm setting up the pits in the finals area. And it was a big, beautiful pit with seating for 200 or 300 people. And meanwhile, they're setting up the 200 tables. I remember getting a shot from the top of the bleachers looking back, and just this sea of tables. You go down there to tables 195 through 200. And it's a half a block away or more. Wow. Just incredible. And that year also, open singles during that decade. I know we've talked about it. I think during the decade of the 1990s, in a 10-year period, I want to say there were 9 different open singles champions. Do you know, just real quick here, since 2003, there have been exactly 4 different guys win the open singles championship. Collignon, Pappas, Spredeman, and more, and that's it. But during the 90s, there was like 9 different champions. But at the time, 1995, we go into that event. Terry Moore is the man; he's on fire. All these other players are competing for singles honors. But it was Dave Gummison who won the singles championship that year, and it was a little surprising. We kind of overlooked Dave, obviously a great player. But he played like a perfect tournament. I played so good. I shot so well from the 2-rod in addition to what he does on the 5 and the 3. So that was part of it that I remember so well, was his amazing performance. And he was a great friend of mine. We had become fast friends once Inside Foos hit the tour. And the other thing was the first time we've ever seen a back-to-back performance in open doubles. First time ever in the history of the sport when the aforementioned Scotty Weidman and Todd Lafredo won the open doubles competition. So back-to-back, huge ballroom. First time at the Hyatt, Gummison, and of course, Lafredo and Weidman going back to back. Just a great event there in 1995 at the Hyatt in Dallas.
So, Jim, quick question before we proceed. At that 200 table tournament, did they provide golf carts to the players to get around?
Yes. Well, you think at that point, Tom, our average age of player was like 28, 29. Today, if it was today, yes, that would be a necessity.
See, that's the only way I could handle it. That's it. Well, that's just me.
Yeah.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Just real quick, Jim. I'm glad you said that about how many tables there were, because I remember that tournament when I first showed up. I walked in and I was like, oh, hey, there was table 45 was near the entrance to the ballroom, and then I saw there was 100, and then there was 140, then 170. I was like, what in the hell is going on this weekend? Who are all these people? That's a great memory. I love that. Number three.
You had to experience it. Yeah, I mean,
you do.
Describe it as one thing. It was incredible.
It's hard to, and then you hear old timers talk about when there was 400 or 500 tables at the tournaments.
Back in the day,
it's just,
I don't believe a word they say.
Yeah, I know, I don't believe. Anyways, number three for me is it was a wake up call. It was the following year, 2004. I had to have been a pro at this point, and I was playing with. I was a struggling pro. I was trying to win stuff or do anything. I was doing okay at regional stuff, but couldn't do anything at majors. And I drew Terry Moore in the Pro Master DYP. And within the first, I used to work at a restaurant, and when people come up to you and talk to you in something you've never done before, they talk to you in the jargon that they use. So when people are telling me at the restaurant that I need to go to this table to do this and order that and number 74 and this, my brain curdles and I'm like, what is going on? And that happens anytime you're challenged when you experience something that you thought you knew. Like, I thought I knew food. I thought I knew how to bring food to people, but not in that realm, right? Terry Moore, in the first game or so of our first match, starts talking to me about foosball in terms I'd never heard. He was talking to me about the defense, because I played nets, obviously, for him. He was talking to me about, I don't even remember what he was saying. He was just talking about this toe forward, standard reverse thing that I was supposed to be doing, and dampen and do all this other stuff that I thought that I knew or thought was happening naturally, but it wasn't. And playing with somebody like that, getting coached by somebody like that, and winning and losing with somebody like that is what set up for me the next year in 2005, which is my best year, because I realized I needed to up my game and understanding of this game that I thought that I knew very well, but clearly did not. So for me, number three, world's memory, was getting Terry Moore in that event.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome. And Terry's certainly one of the smartest players ever to play the game. No question about it. One of the true greats of all time. And what a great experience, what a great experience that would. I had the pleasure of living in Southern California when he was coming up, and kind of got to watch him almost overnight go from a less than average player to maybe the best player in the world. And it didn't take long. About 2 years was all it was. So for me, 1993, number three is 1994. The 1994 World Championships, which would be the last one at the Grapevine Hilton for 15 years. The World Championships returned there in 2009 through, I think, 2013. But this one was really unique. ESPN was there to do a report. It's one that you can see, I think, on maybe the Inside Foos or on my Facebook page, a little report that they did that really documented the winners and losers, talked about how many players were there, interviewed a lot of players. It was really, really cool to have ESPN there doing a report on our little sport. But again, this was part of the second golden era, right? This was the 1994 when, again, the turnout at the Hilton. It was a smaller ballroom. There were probably 110 players, but it was still just jam-packed with foosers from around the world. And it was not only was Tom Spear winning the Open Singles Championship, which was one of the great performances we've ever seen. We also got to see Lafredo and Weidman win their first one. But maybe the coolest thing, or one of the coolest things for me, if you remember 1994, and if you're a baseball fan, that was the year of the strike. All right, baseball started, played a month or two, and then went on strike, and the rest of the season was canceled. The World Series was canceled. The only time in the last now 118 years that there has not been a World Series, and because of that, Dante Bichette of the Colorado Rockies, who had played a little bit locally in the Denver area, came to the tournament and showed that he was pretty dang good. He was an expert level player. This was a guy smoking snake shot. He had huge hands, huge wrists. This is a big power hitter who could also run really fast, great athlete. And he came to the tournament. And not only did he compete and played very well, I think he got maybe a top 10 finish in expert singles. But he also spent a little time up in the booth with me. And so I got to have Dante Bichette, Major League Baseball player, as my color man. And it was really cool getting to know him, hang out with him for the weekend. Now, the next year, 1995, right, the Major League Baseball comes back. Dante has a career year. He hits 40 home runs. He drives in 140 runs. He hits 320. He's playing for the Colorado Rockies. Should have been the MVP in the league, but because he played at a mile high, they didn't give him credit for those numbers. But he was the best player in the National League the next year after playing foosball. And he went 2 to 3, maybe 4 different events on tour that year. Around the country, down to where he lived in Florida, et cetera. But we always talked about how playing foosball for that year really helped him, maybe as a hitter. But he did get robbed for the MVP that year. Now we also had Cindy Head winning women's singles and women's doubles for the 400th straight year in that event.
400,
but it was a real memorable one. It was my second one that I covered. And it was a great one. Had a lot of fun. Now, it's 1994. ESPN speared Dante Bichette. Last one in Grapevine for 15 years. The 94 Worlds at my number 3.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
So this is a little apropos for the current situation going on in Louisiana with Hurricane Ida. But my third Worlds that I went to was 2005. And flying in the Dallas-Fort Worth, which was happening concurrently with the Hurricane Katrina. I think it was just kind of it had just already ended or was near the end, but like the weather effects were rippling out across the United States in that area. And because of that, the pilot said, I just want to prepare you when we're landing that there's going to be some turbulence. And I was like, okay, I've been in turbulence. At that point, it's 2005. I've flown around a lot of the United States. And I was like, that's fine. And when we're in those big 747s, there's, I think it was a row of 3 at the aisle, another row of 4 of the aisle. So
right,
huge. And that's fine. So, we start the descent and it's okay. And then all of a sudden, there's just silence. You can't hear the engine anymore. There's just the rumble. And the plane drops about 100 feet, boom, and hits air again. So what was happening is that we're hitting these pockets of air that aren't there or are thinner, apparently. And everybody screams the second we hit that first time. And I'm like, okay, this is actually a little more intense than any kind of turbulence that I was. But right in that thought process, boom, we hit another one. And it was just silence, except for this time, there's just screaming. And we descend another probably 50, 100 feet in the span of a second. And when we hit the air, we're hitting it like we're hitting the ground. Like I thought we were hitting the ground. I thought that was it. We were done. And then by this point, everybody's praying that prays and everybody that's crying that cries. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this is it. I'm never going to win a major event or, a pro event. I'm just, I don't even feel like journaling at this point. And then one more silence, screaming, boom. And then the pilot says, sorry about that, folks. We're coming in for our landing now. Hope you have a good rest of your day. That was it.
Wow.
That was the most horrifying, terrifying thing that I've ever experienced while flying. And that was it. And so it was after the fact when we were getting off, talking to the pilot. That's just what was happening. It wasn't that big. Those planes can deal with a lot more worse than that. But I'm telling you, dropping 100 feet in the span of a second and then hitting air like you thought it was the ground will always be, to me, my number 2 World's memory. I wasn't even at the event at that point.
So sorry, folks, we've lost both engines. Just have another drink and settle down. It'll all be fine.
A quick anecdote.
Those pilots are so cool, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they are.
A quick anecdote here, guys. There's several groups who tend to get into voice acting later in life. The number 2 group most likely to get into voice acting, airline pilots.
I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
I believe that.
Right?
Very reassuring.
Great story, Adam. I'm glad you made
awesome.
it. That I remember that year as well, 05 with Katrina. We were all kind of sweating it the first couple of days. Of course, I get there like Sunday or Monday. And we were wondering if any of the Louisiana players would make it, and most of them did not because of it. But what a devastating time that was. We all remember it well. And we're, of course, our hearts go out to all of those living down there now. And hopefully this will not be quite what that was. My number 2, maybe as far as a quality of play or memorable results, maybe the 2001 Tornado World has to be at the top when it comes to that particular type of a way of looking at it. The Open Doubles final Frederick Collignon versus Frederick Collignon and Todd Alfredo versus Trevor Park and Lewis Cartwright. Went 2 sets. The first set went down to the final ball. There was a not win by 2 in 2001, so it was 5-4 in the 5th game. Second set also went right down to the final ball, one of the most famous possessions in history. Trevor and Lewis tied up at 4 in the 5th game of that second set. Huge crowd into it, cheering on every point. We're up there in the booth just on the edges of our seat. There's nothing better than commentating a great foosball match, except maybe dropping 150 feet on a airplane. But it was incredible. And we all remember it. It's Fred's ball at 4-4, 5th game, second set. He serves it, takes his time, passes it through Trevor's 5, sets it up, calls a timeout, comes back to the table, puts it back into play, touching 2 in those days. Lewis Cartwright doing the Lewis shuffle, where you basically take your men and you move them across that mouth of the goal as fast as you can to try to cover every single hole all at the same time. Collignon sat there 10, 11, 12 seconds and then nailed as tight of a near corner as you possibly can to win the championship. Fred almost fainted as he went back off the table. Just one of the most memorable, maybe the greatest match in the history of foosball. It's certainly in the top 5 in the running. And then in singles, it's Johnny Horton with his famous run. It wasn't who he played or how he played. It was more how he won. When he won it, he had this bright silver reflective shirt on and he ran around the arena and it was just amazing to see him do that. The other thing too, here's one other thing, and it was the play that was outstanding. But the other thing, and I didn't really realize this till many years later, of course, but in 2001, I had a chance to look at some photographs about 10 or 12 years ago here at home. It was my wife at the 2001 Tornado World Championships, right? She's here. She's out there playing. If you remember, Pete Burnham, the photographer, took 4,500 pics, which I had, and I'm looking through them. I go, whoa, there's Amy. And this is back in 2001. There's pictures of her playing, and in the background, you see the pits. You see me sitting up there commentating a match in the background of her, standing at a table. And we would not meet each other for 8 more years.
Wow.
But yet here we were in the same room. There I am in the background. I even have a video of her sitting in the front row with her mother, who was there, my mother-in-law, sitting there for a match. And it would not be 8 more years until we would meet each other. Actually, no, 7, a little under 7, 7.5 years until we would meet each other again. And it was, so it was kind of odd. It was kind of weird to see her and get a glimpse of what she was doing. She was foosball hungry, of course, loved playing. But so there's my wife, 7 or 8 years before we met, less than 100 feet from me, which was kind of it's a weird feeling. I got to tell you that, but it doesn't, again, the play in 2001 was remarkable. There was a lot going on that year. It was maybe the last, coming off the golden era in the 90s, maybe it kind of closed out the 90s kind of with the energy that it had at that event in 2001. And anybody who was there will never forget the open doubles final or Horton sprinting around the arena, raising his hands like Muhammad Ali. So for me, number 2, the 2001 Tornado Worlds in Dallas.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1.
So to go back to my number 5 was when I played Collignon for the first time at my first World in 2003, and he wiped the floor with me, but he taught me a lot afterwards. And it was in that moment that I realized I could compete. I could win. I could do well if I set my mind to it, if I practice, if I allow myself to accept my losses as learning experiences. I could compete. And so I set myself a goal was to come back the next year or the year after or whenever and win a title, be it an open title or a pro title. But I was like, I could definitely do this. And in 2004, I did okay. But in 2003, I won a couple pro events here and there. I won at the pro doubles with Mark Torres at
Impossible
Hall of Fame. I know. Well, that was the other big one. You carry a backpack like that. But anyways, the point is that I was saying to myself, I could do this. And then at Worlds 2 years later, Rob Atha and I won pro doubles.
Mm-hmm.
And Everything else up till this point, my top, my 5, 4, 3, 2 have been like learning experiences, because I'm really, I don't really focus so much on the accomplishments. I'm more curious about the journey and learning, because that just makes everything else so much sweeter, in my opinion. But I got to say, my number one is going to be winning pro doubles that year. And in my head, that was my goal. And if I kept playing, if I didn't afterwards, that was fine. I just wanted to make sure that I won some kind of title at a world event. And so for me, winning pro dubs with Rob Atha was my number one.
That's awesome. And anybody this weekend, if you're in the pit area and you want to play against Adam Gilson, or even Adam Gilson and me, I want you to check out Adam's game. Adam is a heck of a player, and Tom, you're going to find this out as well. Adam is a really good player.
Cool.
And we all kind of thought he was in that crop of these rising stars, in the mid 2000s with the aforementioned Atha, et cetera. And so we remember Adam, competing at a very, very high level, and he still is an outstanding player. Well, anybody who knows me knows that my number one memory from the Tornado Worlds has to be 1993, the first one that I ever worked. It was, we had been kind of quote unquote discovered by Steve Murray early in 1993, doing some stuff locally in Southern California, doing video work, doing commentary. And he brought us out on tour. We worked the U.S. Open in San Bernardino, California, went down to New Orleans for the Nationals and kind of got our feet wet with a single camera and set up on a box. But it was eye opening. And for me, I had been out on the pro tour a little bit, but I still had to, a little bit fake it till I make it sort of thing, and kind of get out there and really try to ingratiate myself pretty quickly into the scene. And I felt I was making some headway at those two tournaments. And then I went to Dallas for the '93 Worlds, and I walked into this room and I'd never seen anything quite like it. It was the Grapevine Hilton. It was his tennis courts, very high ceiling, just jam-packed with people. Probably 110 players, tables was all they could fit in there. But it was the energy in there was incredible. The level of competition, incredible. I mean, it was hot. It was sweaty. There was a bar set up behind us that had a window that looked out into the pit area, and people would bang on that glass as exciting things were going on. That was the year that Tommy Atkinson almost tripled. And I'd seen Tommy play once down in the Nationals in New Orleans, and then for him to do what he did at the Worlds was incredible. The energy of it, the crowd was into it. I felt like I was in a little bit over my head. But the one thing that happened that weekend, more than anything else, in all of this that's going on that is so exciting, was that I started to feel accepted. And part of that was because the people sitting in the bar, the window looking out on the pits, they also had TVs set up in there, right, with our commentary piped into it. And that bar was packed, and many of the people were sitting up there in the bar watching our coverage of it and listening to our commentary. And throughout the weekend, especially as things kind of got going, people would come up to me and say, "Wow, Jim, we've never heard anything like that. We're loving this. That foosball commentary is possible. Foosball on TV is possible." And at the end of the weekend, people were knocking our doors down to get the videotapes at that time of the event. People were so excited about what we were doing. Obviously, the play itself, the tournament itself. I guess what we did for the first time ever, really at that level, was to add the gravy to it, the frosting to the cake. But it was just for the first time I felt like, okay, I'm now part of this. This is they accept me, the top players, and I valued what Todd Lafredo thought. Right, I really valued what these great players thought about what I was doing. And I really felt more than ever, really for the first time after that tournament, that me and Inside Foos were accepted. To me, it still seems like it was yesterday. It's now 28 years ago, almost to the day.
28 years.
And it was, for me, of course, it has to be number one. I've talked about it several times on the show, but there was no way I couldn't put it at number one. For me, it was the first World Championship. You can look at it in Foosballers. There's some images up there with Evan Stachlik and I, and I'm sitting there with a mustache and a tie and a white shirt.
Love it.
Classic stuff. But 93 for me, 1993 is my number one Foosball memory from the Tornado Worlds.
What a great list. I mean, both you guys have some amazing memories, and still all fresh. I mean, like you just lived them yesterday.
Yeah, and Tom, let me interject real quick. And, I talked about this in Animal Remember, sort of in the when we did the Bardo ceremony last month. These tournaments, that's what they're about, isn't it? It's about creating memories. As you get older, as you work an event where you're celebrating the lives of 68 fallen Foosers,
right,
you realize what's important. and that how much you need to value these experiences. Don't take them for granted.
Mhm.
Acknowledge them for the fact that you are creating memories. Every second, every minute at these tournaments is valuable. And so let's not forget that as we head into this incredible event in Lexington, and those of you attending over in Germany as well, especially after what we've been through over the last year and a half, 2 years. Let's
Right.
remember that let's make this valuable. Let's not take it for granted. Let's live every moment, and let's create some amazing memories.
Well spoken. And Jim, I got to say, in retrospect, with that first time out there in 1993, you literally, in foosball terms, reinvented or invented the wheel.
There was no template.
Right.
Yeah. It was me just following my gut for the most part, following, my talent or whatever. And just doing it. Right. And when you get great feedback, when you get great energy, it fuels you, to keep moving forward. But it was walking a tightrope. It was uncharted territory, very much so. And I do also remember that feeling of, will I be accepted? And I'm kind of an insecure person. Don't tell anybody, but I'm kind of insecure anyway. And so it was, it was really a lot to undertake. And I remember how nervous I was heading in, and how great I felt afterwards.
Yeah. Wow. I so appreciate hearing these. And yes, you're right. We have to take, and like being in foosball, in the most intense match of your life, you've got to live in the moment. That's what we have every intention of doing. And of course, we're always thinking about the next biggest challenge, which of course is this week. In fact, we're only days away. If you want to say, we're hours away from the 2021 Tornado Championships in Lexington, Kentucky. And we're all making plans to be there. How do you best prepare? Well, let's find out from a world champion. Let's welcome to, once again, to FoosTalk Live. Let's welcome Liz Hillmore. Hello, Liz. Are you with us? Liz, are you with us?
Sorry.
There
Hi,
she is.
hi. Good evening. Good evening.
Late to the game again. Okay. All right. That's cool. No,
None of us were going to say it, Liz. None
Yeah.
of us were going to say, Liz, just unmute.
Yeah.
None of us were going to say that. Okay.
I appreciate that. Good evening.
How
Good
are you?
evening,
Liz?
Tom. And
Hi, Liz. Hey.
hello.
So it's great to have an opportunity to hang out with you before this big momentous occasion. So first of all, are you excited?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a huge Worlds, and I'm excited for every Worlds. But I think this one, especially for me personally, just going into it and having kind of an up and down year, and just kind of dissecting all the things that professional foosball player like myself would do before a big tournament like this. So yeah, it's definitely, I'm excited for sure.
So give us an idea as to what you, as a world champion, how do you prepare for this event?
Well, for this particular World Championships, I wish I had more time to prepare and more hours in the day. I definitely want to devote a little bit more time in a tournament setting, local tournaments, things like that. So, you can only do so much repetition, and having all the years that I've been playing foosball, there are things that are muscle memory. So yes, I mean, I can practice all day long, but for me, the tournament time is super important. I've got my partner here, Christina. She's visiting, and we're practicing and working on things. We're watching videos. So all the things.
So
all
it's
the things.
Christina Fuchs?
Fuchs.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, you guys will certainly be in hot contention for a title.
That's the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it that you, I mean, obviously you want to win, but what do you expect to see as far as anything surprising you can think of that might happen that weekend?
Well, are you talking about in a particular event, or just
just
in
generally
general?
speaking? Yeah,
I
in
mean,
general. Anybody you think that might surprise us all?
I haven't really put much thought into that. I'm sure there will be a surprise. I don't know that that's an area of expertise for me.
Right.
No, I honestly, I don't know how to answer that. I'm sure there'll be a surprise or two somewhere. There always is. And you guys will be there to highlight that when that happens. So
sure. No, just compared to previous years, the times you've spent competing on this level, How has it changed for female players? Has it gotten better, worse, stayed the same?
I think it's definitely better.
Okay.
I think the level of play for lady players has skyrocketed. It's so much more than being a goalie. I mean, because that's how it was for years and years and years. There was pretty much most of the female players were primarily goalies, and now you have multi-position players. You have skill sets that are elevated, 5 bars, passing, 2 to 5. The mental strength is really impressive with the lady players, and not just with the ones that have been around for a while. I mean, the newcomers are being taught that. They see that. It's pretty impressive. I'm really excited about the level of play for the lady players.
Right. No, I mean, I know you and, of course, Midori and now Sullivan are all capable of competing head-to-head with the guys. And I know we'll hear later on from Sullivan Rue with her interview with Clay Tumey. She mentions how much she's determined to beat the guys. Has that always...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Is that something you can relate to?
It is. I mean, it's it's really great that, especially coming from the Bardo tournament, we had a women's team win expert, with Sullivan was it Texas State or Nationals? I can't remember which one it was that she won expert singles. I mean, you've had mixed teams winning, pro doubles and expert doubles. So it's been going on for a long time. This isn't a new phenomenon. I mean, female players have been in these events for quite a while, but I think with the rise of Sullivan and just how stinking good she is, people are starting to pay attention. Oh, here's Sullivan Rue, this phenomenal player with all kinds of skill. I mean, she comes from a household with parents that have all kinds of skill, and then in a community and has been on tour since she was a baby.
Yeah, literally.
She really flipped the switch for the female players, and even, I mean, even with Midori, she did the same thing. I mean, she had much success in pro doubles. And long before those two came on the scene, you had Shelly and Stacy winning pro doubles. I mean, so it's nice that the switch has turned on, and that people are recognizing that lady players are just players. I mean, we're not just women; we are competitors. We're just players. Gender doesn't need to be a part of it.
Right?
No,
it doesn't. And in many cases, the consistency level is greater with a women's team. You mentioned Stacy and Shelly for one, but also the fact that Sully really. For me, what I see with Sully is she is really putting the bar at a new level.
Yeah.
I think, she is like a Ryan Moore or a Tony Sprademan. She is playing at a level that I'm not sure we've ever seen before. And we could even include Cindy Head there. And we're talking about a young lady who is 18 and doing what she's doing. How good is she going to be, right? And it's also great for the rest of the ladies. They've got to keep up with her, including her partner Midori, including you, including all the lady players got to kind of keep up with her. But the other thing I think too that it's improved for the lady players is the influence of the ITSF and what how their approach is. It's so professional. It's equal with the men. It's I think that's part of it as well. But as far as preparation for a tournament, you mentioned it. How many repetitions can you do? You don't really need to do that many. You do a few to kind of get your arms warmed up. You get your mentally you're there as far as your execution percentage, etc. But for these tournaments, one thing you've learned, I'm sure, Liz, is this is a 6-day tournament. Going into these, you've still got to be able to play on Monday, right? In this case, it's Monday. Monday is the last day of this tournament. So what do you do early in a weekend? I talked about it with what I do. I've learned, right? You've got to kind of get your sleep. You got to take care of yourself. You got to be aware of the fact that this is a triple marathon of foosball, right?
It absolutely is. And this has been a problem for me personally in the past, because I do have a bum shoulder, and with each day that passes, I have to make adjustments. So really one of the things that I'm working on personally is just how am I going to stand? Am I going to be able to execute on day 4, day 5, when my arm feels this way or that way? So those are things that I'm working on. Okay, maybe I need to stand like this. Can I still shoot this exact same shot if I stand like this or if I stand back? I mean, I've really thought ahead, because coming from a short tournament from at Bardo for me, I left there feeling like a dream, because it was a 2-day tournament for me. I had no issues with execution all weekend long, and so I do have some concerns, coming into Worlds with my endurance, but those are things that I'm working on. I mean, that's part of what I'm preparing for.
Liz, that's Adam Gilson here, by the way.
Hi, Adam.
I think that was the first time we met when we were in the booth at Bardot, right?
No kidding.
I think so.
Yeah. And there was so much fun working with you. My goodness, the depth of knowledge is so amazing. That was
Thank you. I had a hoot as well.
Yeah,
yes.
it was a hoot. So I just two things. So you're touching on something that Jim and I were talking about last week when we were talking about our top 5 ways to improve. And I'm going to throw 2 things at you. So the one of the things that you're talking about is knowing yourself. You have to know yourself. You're talking about what you know about your body, your shoulder. Some people don't have that problem. Some people do, but you're obviously working around it. And I'm curious, how do you learn that? Like, is that something that you learned? Is it something that you just self-taught? Did somebody tell you that? Like, that's just, it's such a majorly important thing for improving your game to know yourself. And
know yourself,
B,
yeah.
to know yourself. And B, because I think this runs into that same thing. We talk about pressure that's put on you by yourself or by others that you're playing, and we talk about being in the zone, which a lot of people feel it's, or because I've been asking a lot of people about this lately. Like, the zone is the antidote for pressure, and knowing yourself is part of getting to the zone. That's a lot of stuff I'm asking you right now, but from your perspective, I want to know what are you, because you're a master. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, as far as knowing yourself and your body, I mean, you know, at this stage of life, being in my 40s and knowing my body, it's constantly changing. So just being in tune and paying attention to what I'm feeling, and making swift adjustments instead of just him-hawing around and going, oh, maybe it's going to go away. I just say go with my gut when it comes to knowing myself and knowing my body. And as far as being in the middle of a match when something like that's going on, I mean, obviously, utilizing timeouts or taking a little extra time or not taking any time at all. Sometimes it's got to be about the quick shot. Maybe sitting on the ball for 15 seconds, which I generally like to do, isn't going to happen because I know if I do, it's not going to be an on-goal shot. There's going to be a misexecution, or I'm going to lock my shoulder up, something like that. And then as far as, for me, pressure-wise, I generally don't feel. I mean, I feel pressure, but there's a difference between pressure and nervousness. The nerves aren't really a factor anymore. But I think the most pressure that I feel, I definitely put on myself. And what's going to be super important for me going into the World Championships is just to trust what I know. I've been doing this long enough that I know what I'm doing on the table, and sometimes what goes on in my head doesn't translate in my hand, and I just have to let that go and go, that's okay. Hopefully I'm not getting stuffed. I mean, who wants to get stuffed? But you have to let things go, and sometimes I have a hard time with that, but those are the things I'm going to focus on, is just those very things, and just to go with my gut.
Right. And, thanks for that. And just real quick, just a quick follow-up for the execution in the midst of all that. It's at a certain point, does execution become secondary or tertiary to what you're actually trying to do on the table? Does that make sense?
No.
It doesn't.
So you're not trying.
Expand.
You're not worried about execute. You're not worried about doing a ball pass or a pull shot at a certain point. At a certain level, you are actually playing a larger game where you're trying to create pictures in the mind of your opponent and trying to understand how to adjust against what they're doing. You're not worried about
the execution, right? You're not focused on execution. You just trust that it's going to happen.
Yes. And that's where, the repetition and preparing does have to happen, because, for me, making adjustments on how I stand, I still have to be able to shoot the same shots, and I don't want to waste time thinking about it, because the moment you think about it, then you're whiffing the shot. So those things have to be automatic. But it's the overall game. I mean, at this level, you don't want to misexecute anything ever. Every possession is just so valuable. It's so important, and especially going into a World Championships. Everybody is out for that title, and you have to take care of the ball. if you get blocked, that's fine. But was it a damn good execution? That's what I want to focus on. Okay, the block wasn't great. I wish it went in the goal hole, but did I execute it? Yes, it was a good shot. So
and you're getting information as well. You're getting potentially information as well. You mentioned that your fellow Hall of Famer, your longtime partner Christina Fuchs is there in town to train with you. What do you guys do when you get on a table? Obviously, you're going to play a little singles to get your singles games warmed up. Well, what do you do as far as a doubles team? How do you prepare for this event beyond going out and playing other players? But if you're there at home on your home table or whatever, what do you guys do?
Well, really, a lot of what we've been doing is discussing and watching videos and talking about strategy against certain teams or players. There's zones and things are not a one size fit all type thing. I mean, you have to set your game and your strategies based on who you're going to play, and that goes back to knowing your opponent and if there's something that has challenged us in the past, those are the things that we're discussing. And then we've been playing together for so long that we are truly one on the table. It's not two players. We're just one player. I mean, there's things that I know she's about to do every time. I mean, it's just so instinctual for me to be where she needs me to be. So that's kind of how we're preparing.
So Liz, this is coming from a beginner, if you pardon, but let's say you're on the table as a beginner, and it's the Worlds, and you're getting slopped on, a lot of loose balls and stuff. What do you do? What's the first thing a beginner needs to do to kind of stop this from happening, and how do you regain control?
Well, that's really a tough question. But what happens in singles when you get slopped on a lot is not understanding how the ball travels around the table, not understanding how when it hits this man or that man. I mean, it really you kind of just have to take it with a grain of salt and go, okay, wait a minute, why did that ball go in?
Mm-hmm.
Why did this ball go in? Was it because I was too slow? Did I think it was gonna? I don't know. You just have to analyze. Okay, what could I have done? Because really, everybody hates slops. It's one of the most frustrating things in foosball. You don't have to be. You don't have to be beginner. Yeah, you just have to figure out how to block it, and really, time will show you how to do that. Right. So, as a beginner, as a rookie, you just have to take your beatings a little bit and go.
Okay. But wouldn't you also say the first step might be to take responsibility for them? Say to yourself, I need to block that. That's up to me to block those. It isn't the opponent's fault. It's not the fates. I got to block that. I got to figure out a way to anticipate it and block it and take responsibility for it. Once you do that, I think the rest comes more easily.
You're right, Jim. And I wish that was exactly what I should have said, but you said it.
Hey, I had to get the information
somewhere. Get used to it when you're working in the booth, Liz. Get used to it.
No, it's the whole idea, obviously, is to have fun, at least at this level. But when you're up there at the top levels like yourself, are you still having fun?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the true answer to that. So I had a moment at Texas State. It was a really tough tournament for me. Not my favorite results, but sometimes you have to kind of be beat down a little bit to rise back up, because the only direction you have is up. And I had a moment at the end of that tournament on Sunday evening where I decided that it's really not fun to lose. It's really not fun to place way below your seating.
Right.
And I'm really not here to have fun. I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to compete.
Right.
And it's way more fun when I compete at the level that I know I'm capable of. So that's my answer.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Dig it. Definitely dig it. No, it's. I think that you have to get beyond the idea. Okay, this is just a recreational thing I'm doing and having a great time with it, and maybe, spending a lot of money just to play and have fun. But when it comes to getting to the higher echelons, that must be certainly there has to be a point at which you say, okay, I've got to get more determined and more serious. Correct.
Absolutely. I mean, it's yeah. And at Bardot, there's a, a moment with my partner, Christina, where I just, I looked at her and I just asked her, I said, do you want to have fun or do you want to win?
I like that. So you communicate that to one another. Okay.
So
That's like when I ask my kids. That's when I ask my kids, and I say, "Do you want my A game, or do you want me to let you win?" Go ahead, Adam.
Liz, you're really touching on something that I think is really fascinating, especially for people that are wanting to get to the next level. You're talking about what it means to win and what the emotional context is to win, if that makes sense. To that degree, I think a lot of people put their ego on the table as far as like when they're playing, especially in the expert level, the amateur level, like they see the outcome of the match or the actual event as a reflection of them. But I'm not hearing you say that. You're differentiating. You're saying that what for you, like winning isn't so much like you're defined by the win. You're there to do a job. You want to win, and that's it. Is that true? I mean, is that do you hear what I'm saying about that?
It's not a tournament that I've ever entered where I didn't think I could win. I don't think champions. I mean, you have to know that. And even though I know, and forgive me, I'm not trying to sound cocky in any way, shape, or form when I say this. I know that I can't win everything. I know that. Well, Tony might be able to, but
Right.
but I always walk into a tournament knowing that I'm going to win. You have to, and then oftentimes I don't, and then and those situations are growing moments, and especially being later in my career, it's what's gratifying to me is to still be competitive. That's truly what's
Nice.
in my heart of hearts. Do I want to win? Absolutely. Do I still think I can? Of course, because if I didn't think I could, then I never would. But I do have goals, and when I walk away from a tournament with a 5th place or 4th place or 3rd place, if I know that I still played well, and who am I losing to?
Right.
I mean, those are the true goals in my heart and my soul. But yeah, I mean, I'm of course, if you were to say, hey Liz, are you going to win this? Absolutely, I'm going to win this tournament. I mean, this is the plan. Why would I say no?
Right. Yeah.
I
No, that's
mean,
awesome. Yeah, and that's good because to my larger question, I'm just thinking, like how much are you focused on worrying about what's going to happen in the middle of the match, and what you're really talking about is like you have your game plan in mind and you know what it is that you're going to do. That's awesome.
that is the game plan.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, you got to have a game plan, right? And that's a lot of it. It takes a lot of the pressure off when you have a template you can kind of follow. You don't always follow it exactly, as we talked about last week, but you do go into it with a mindset, don't you? There's an approach to all of this.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, I'm fascinated by that philosophy, especially a game plan. That's a step through which I have not taken, but looking forward to learning how
until
to do
this
that.
week.
Yeah,
Yes.
until this week.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, Liz, I got to ask you the question. I know that in our top 5 tonight, we talked about memories of previous worlds. Share with us a couple of your memories. What did you what sticks out in your mind?
Well, I mean, it was awesome that you guys played, the segment there of Blake and I winning in 2019, the mixed doubles champion. I mean, that was pretty special. That was a lot of fun. I think a lot of my world championship memories, I have to go back to Christina and I winning women's doubles a couple of years in a row. That was pretty special. And I think one year, I don't recall that year, but I think we won women's doubles the whole year, every tournament. We won from 2012. 2012, we won.
Thanks, Chris.
All the major tournaments. So yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm trying to get her in here to chat with us a little bit, but it's not going to happen. She's
a bit shy.
There.
Yeah, she's a little on the shy
side.
side.
But of course, the world championships that I remember, of course, are the ones that I've won, and there are a few where there's some losses in there, but eventually, for me, I've been a little desensitized. Like, I still want to win, of course, but second place, when you make it to the finals of a world championships, that's pretty awesome too. If you end up with second, you end up with second. I mean, it's not great. Of course, you want to win, but I remember those as well. I think, Christina and I have been in what, 4 or 5 women's doubles finals, and we've won 2. So that's not great stats, but
still,
I have two world championship titles with her. You just have to get there, and
Very few players do. Very few players reach the finals at the very least. To win, of course, is the cherry on top. But reaching a final is not easy to do. Liz, obviously you've had an amazing career. You're a Hall of Fame player, multiple world championships, gold medalist, team captain of Team USA in 2019 in Murcia, Spain. You've also kind of started to transition. Obviously, you're still a great player, but you also took on sort of the role of team captain for Team USA in terms of raising money for the team and being really the figurehead, the point, the Robert Mares of the women's team, if you will. That's one thing. But then also, recently, there's also been, it appears, a desire on your part to become more involved behind the microphone. You spent a couple of matches with us down in Austin at the Bardo Hearn celebration, and you were fantastic in the booth. And we've worked together before. You're always great. But I actually think you took it up a notch. I thought you were exceptional with your insights, with your delivery. And obviously, if you've been listening to her tonight, folks, she's a great communicator.
Oh, yeah.
And this weekend, of course, you have an open invitation. I hope to get you up there 6 or 8 times to do matches with us this weekend. But is that something that you have started to focus on? I mean, as you're now kind of evolving as a player, as a foosball person, are you also now kind of looking at the media side of it a little bit?
Maybe just a little bit. I'm not quite ready to leave competition behind yet. But I have to say, Jim, I have enjoyed talking with you guys up in the booth and interviewing Clay. I really enjoy talking about the players that we're watching, because I know so many of them. And I realized that, wow, I can talk about these players because I know who they are. I've had conversations with them in the past. I've probably toured with a couple of them. I mean, there's so many reasons why I enjoy being up in the booth, and it's fun to talk about foosball, and it's fun to analyze things. And actually, I learn a lot up there. I learn a lot from you, and I learn a lot from what I'm watching. So it's advantageous for me in my game to watch what's going on up at the booth. So yes, I definitely would like to transition over in that direction at some point, but let's not move too fast.
You can do both. Yeah, you can do both, as most of the people who work with me do. Hey, Adam, by the way, make sure you get her a lanyard and a badge.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only way she can get in the booth these days is with an official badge. But no, it's great to have you up there. And again, you lend a particular insight, and your communication skills are tremendous. So we're looking forward to working with you this week, and looking forward to watching you play primarily. So it's going to be fun.
Liz, may
I'm
I
looking forward to it as well.
May I make a comment here in the sense that I've worked with a lot of fledgling broadcasters, and you'd be one of those individuals in my class who I'd say, yeah, this one's going to make it. Yeah, nice. Absolutely.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's something that just to be able to communicate and speak clearly and succinctly and confidently, it's a big part of it. So,
and I can't wait for you to interview me, Liz.
There you go.
I would love to interview you, and I would love to. Good night, son. Hang on, let me kiss. Night.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And a family too.
Yeah, I definitely would love to interview you, Jim. That would be fun. Are you sure?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm in.
Be
no
ready.
Question about it.
Be ready,
so,
Jim. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and so we're all looking forward to heading to Lexington, Kentucky here in the next few days as we sort of wrap things up here on a Sunday night. But can't wait to see you. When you getting in?
We are getting in Wednesday. Hopefully, with this hurricane happening, hopefully everybody can get there, via flights, because flights get canceled and people are going to be driving in rain. And so I just, pray everybody gets there safely and on time. But yes, Christine and I plan on being there Wednesday. And we're ready for the marathon. And if I don't end up in the booth, it's probably because I'm doing well in the foosball tournament. So don't be offended.
That's cool.
That's a good reason.
You got an open invitation, of course.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And FoosTalk Live, of course, will be there as well. And we'd feel insulted if you didn't come hang out with us.
Well, Tom, I missed you the last time. I think you were in Texas State, was it?
Yes.
That you were there, and so I definitely want to take some time and hang out with you a little bit for sure.
Okay, well, I feel better now. No, we're looking forward to the week. Well, it's a long time to be hanging out in the same place and playing foosball. I can't wait. I just this is just going to be awesome.
It's something else.
I'm happy for you that you get to experience this for the first time.
Yeah, this is it's like Christmas morning kind of thing, but it is the kind of thing that I'm seeing it through the eyes of not knowing what to expect and looking forward to getting overwhelmed. Let's put it that way.
That will definitely happen.
Yeah, no question. Well, so guys, any parting questions you want to ask Liz?
Well, I don't know. This is not a short question, or short answer, I think. But I just want to know. Just give us a bare bones. Like, we've been talking about game plans, and we need to talk about game plans more. But I want to. What's your like template game plan for when you go into any given match?
Well, not to make any well, I mean, I don't know that anybody plays a perfect match, but I just don't want to make the mistakes. Make fewer mistakes than my opponent. Most of the time I'm going in as a forward, so it's the basics. Really, it's the basics. If I have the ball on the 5-bar, I need to pass and I need to score. Do I have to play defense? It's one ball at a time, always one ball at a time. Rarely am I ever defeated when I'm down 4-1 or 4-2 or even 2 games to nothing. Or that stuff just does not bother me. It's you have to fight for every ball. I've seen and experienced way too many matches change in my favor and against me from being down. So those things are most important to me. Is just you got to play every ball for what it is, as if it's brand new, and just go from there. It's pretty basic.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great stuff. All of that, you can see the experience, the knowledge that she has gained over one of the great careers in the history of foosball, the Hall of Famer Liz Moore. Thanks again for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend and hopefully up in the booth for a little bit. And hopefully you're doing well and able to find some time up in the booth with us. But all of us looking forward to seeing you and looking forward to what should be a great weekend.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. Everybody be safe in your travels, and let's have an awesome World Championships.
Yeah, Liz, you be safe as well, and we're going to be cheering for you. We'll be up there in the booth rooting for Liz Moore. Hey, thank you so much for spending time with us. This is so cool when you drop in, and I think that there could be let's say a conversation or two about your broadcast future in the not too distant.
Your kid's got a future, I'm telling you.
Excellent.
She's great.
Pay for my retirement.
You got to hire this one. But no, it's terrific to have you on, and looking forward to this big week. So again, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Liz. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Liz.
Bye.
See you in a couple days.
Take care. Guys, this is awesome. We've got so much to look forward to here, and it's hard to cover everything, but I think we did a pretty good job. Anything before we dive into our it's called the Bardo Bonus Part 3 with Sullivan Rue, who's going to give us some insight as to what she does to prepare. But anyway, before we get to that, what do you guys have to say about this coming week?
Well, I'm nervous. I haven't felt nervous about something in a long time. Like going to nationals and stuff was like one thing, and going to Bardo was a whole nother thing because of the emotional impact of the event. But this thing at Worlds is something else, because I know what it was like back in the day, and that was as a player. And I'm going there to do color commentary, to do interviews, to talk to people, and it's just it's a different kind of experience for me. So I don't know. For me, that's just something. I haven't been nervous in a good way like this in a very long time.
Yeah, I'm nervous that the Clarion Hotel will no longer have that outstanding barbecue that they've had for the last 15 years. And I'm also a little bit nervous because there is a Denny's a half a block away.
Oh, no.
I'm a little nervous for Adam.
No.
2 o'clock in the morning. But the big thing is, obviously, we're going to be covering every bit of this event at InsideFoos.com. We're going to have a couple of streams set up starting Wednesday. We'll get as much on camera as we possibly can. Obviously, the Table 1 stuff is going to be exceptional. Adam and I are going to be spending a lot of time in the booth talking foosball. Keith Glenn's going to be there as well. And others will pop their heads into the booth and talk a little foosball with us.
I might pop in. I might say hey.
I'd love to have Tom Robinson. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be on the air with us as well. And so, no, it's going to be a fun weekend. And so if you don't have a subscription to InsideFoods.com, go get one, because we're going to bring you literally the best action, the highest quality action in all of the world of foosball, starting Wednesday at InsideFoods.com.
Oh, cannot wait. It's going to be great. And guys, tell you what, I'll meet you at Denny's for Moons Over My Hammy, 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
At 4:30 in the morning, yes.
That's always,
out of the room.
Yeah, that's always the worst choice.
But
I promise you, they clean the grill at this place at least once a year.
At least.
All right. I'm in. I'm in.
Oh, we're getting phone calls already.
And I believe foosball players do get a 10 or 20% discount at this Denny's as well, which is kind of nice. And they do have a breakfast at the hotel, but if you want something different, just head over to Denny's.
There you go. Wow. Awesome. Very cool. Well, guys, we can forget about them as a sponsor. But yeah, so it's been it's been awesome. Looking forward to seeing you all in person. And if you're planning on being there in Lexington, Kentucky this week, it's going to be amazing. So looking forward to you.
Stop in and see us. Stop in and say hello. Let us know what you think of the FoosTalk Live and the new Inside Foods, etc. Come see us. Come visit us. We're open to visitors for sure. We'll give you a tour of the booth.
Yeah. And one side note, I do have there's something I'm going to be revealing brand new on site. Whoa. Something you can actually see and touch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Something other
boy.
than.
Whoa.
So
I've heard that before.
Yeah. But anyway, enough said. But so guys, let's get together soon, live in color, in Technicolor, in Lexington, Kentucky. This week for the Tornado Championships 2021. Looking forward to it. In the meantime, we have this great interview. Clay Tumey, our correspondent, is talking with Sullivan Rue. Stand by, and we'll be listening to that for the next half an hour or so. Anyway, we'll see you in Lexington, Kentucky. All right. Have a great night.
Right. Now, FoosTalk Live presents a Bardo Bonus Part 3. Here's correspondent Clay Tumey with special guest Sullivan Rue.
We can just start chit chat, talk about foosball. We're at the Bardo, Horton Celebration of Life in Austin, Texas, and I'm here with. I never say Sullivan. It's Sullivan Rue, but it's Sully to me, right?
Yeah.
It's just what. Yeah. So, what do you prefer people call you? Like, if some random fan just came up and said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you."
It's different for everyone. Like, you call me Sully, but other people call me Sullivan. So.
No preference?
Whatever. No, I don't care.
It's just whatever.
Yes.
As long as it's something nice.
Yeah.
And they're happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
But we're at the Bardo Horton. How's it been going this weekend? How you been doing?
I've been doing pretty good. I won expert singles.
Nice.
Double dipped. It's my first Bardo, actually. I know that it's moved to the hotel. I don't know that it's ever been here before. But I like it. I like the way it's being run. Most things are on time. So.
Yeah. They usually have this in a bar down on 6th Street.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the general consensus is. I'll tell you that I was not a fan of the bar for various reasons, and a lot of people liked it a lot. I'm happy to see it finally in a hotel.
Yeah.
It's too big for a bar.
Yeah,
I agree. Totally honest. How many people were in the expert singles?
I have no idea.
20, 50, 100? What would you guess?
Probably like 60 or something.
It's not an easy field either.
No, I lost like second round.
Who'd you lose to? Do you remember?
Tommy Brewer
out of Florida.
Yes, and then I beat him for loser's bracket final.
It's funny how often it works out where the person that put you in the loser's bracket, you get to talk to them later in the bracket.
I've been doing that the past tournaments in expert, actually.
So when you go up to him and you're playing him later in the same event, you have that in the back of your head, or are you just like, I just going to play my game? It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, I try to remember some things that I messed up on and change that before I play him.
Do you remember what those are?
Yeah, he did a few slingshots on me, so I watched for that. He added like tricks into his normal shot, so I was looking for that. And also a lot of slop went in on me, and I stopped it from happening that time.
What is your mentality on slop? Because I know a lot of people think about it differently, and they get, especially in like rookie and amateur, it's really hard to win because so much slop.
Yes.
And people make it sound like the slop just is magically more prevalent in those ranks, but the reality is I think it's on the player to keep it out. Do you get mad at the other person for being sloppy, or is that all on you?
Because I could win with slop and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Because you still win. And sometimes it is your fault, but other times I feel like there isn't much you could do to get some of it out. But yeah, I think it is my fault.
So the question that comes to mind for me is, how do you determine when it's your fault or when it's just, hey, that's life?
I mean, usually if I'm blocking it and it goes in, then I'm like, I don't think I could have done much more because it was just so fast. It happened so fast. I blocked it and it went in.
Do you do any drills? Because I know you're a big practice. You're a very practiced player. You spend a lot of time on the table away from tournaments, right? Do you do any drills that are focused around that kind of stuff, or is it mostly passing, shooting, things like that?
Well, I mean, I play my dad, so I feel like that's my practice on defensive things. And then I do like watch videos, of course, but it's kind of hard for me to practice that.
And for the uninformed ear, who is your dad?
Harry Rue.
World champion. Was it 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
2016. And was that the year that all three of you won?
Yes.
That is, and that's never been done before?
No.
What are the chances that ever happens again, that mom, dad, and child,
it could happen again.
Son?
It could happen again.
Yeah, it's possible. They need to step their game up, or because you're going to win, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But that year, mom's in here with us. I probably shouldn't have said that too loud. So that year, it was open doubles for dad.
Yes.
Was it women's doubles for mom
and singles, junior singles?
Junior singles.
Yes.
So you're not junior anymore,
No.
right? So what would need to happen? Are you going to win singles? Mom wins doubles, or vice versa, or somebody wins mixed?
Yeah.
Maybe they win mixed together.
Yeah, maybe.
Do they play together?
Yes,
I know a lot of couples don't.
Yeah, they do.
And they're one of the few who pull it off. Well,
yeah.
Okay, well, Mom is giving this the so-so.
I think it's time for a little switch up, but yeah, I think it's time for a switch.
So here in Austin at the Bardo, you're winning expert singles this weekend is something that's very uncommon for women players to win expert singles, especially in a field as strong as the field that's here.
Yes.
So does that register at all, or does it just not matter? You just like to win?
It actually doesn't, because I mean, I don't know if it's because I played my whole life, so it's not weird for me or as impressive as it would be like as others watching, because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
But I feel like I shouldn't lose. Doesn't matter who it is. So
because you're just better.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter. I mean,
I think I just should win. I don't care that I'm a girl.
Does it bug you? I've never been a girl, so I don't know how it feels. Does it get old? People bringing up the wow, it's the first girl to do this or the first girl to do that.
I mean, I think it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do think it's cool, but yeah, it doesn't really bother me.
I know when Midori won expert singles at Colorado State, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was right there with everybody else, like, wow, that's just never happened.
Yeah.
Or it hasn't happened in recent enough history for us to really know about it, talk about it, or whatever. And then I kind of wonder after the fact, like, are we doing a disservice by always talking about that? So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
So what about your other events this weekend?
Let me think. Well, me and my mom have king seat, queen seat for women's doubles. I'm waiting to play women's singles. I'm still in open mixed, expert doubles.
You're still in a lot.
Yeah.
So you might get called up for a match literally while we're talking.
Probably.
Okay. What do you know? What you're up in next, or are there still a bunch of matches in front of you?
Yeah, I have matches ready for most of them, just conflicted by other players.
So have you played doubles with your mom?
Yes, we won twice. We won 2 titles.
Where was that?
We won Louisiana State like 2 years ago, and we won Florida State this year.
I don't know that I would have ever been able to compete with one of my parents because I never got along with them well enough for that. Well, my mom, I probably did, but I don't think she was that competitive. Yeah. My dad, we would probably butted heads the whole time. Yeah. Is it like that with you and your mom, or is it just another partner?
Not when we play together. It's actually not. Well, not actually, but it's not like we argue. But like I feel like we would think that we would argue when we play, but we don't. Just because we're 2 girls and I'm 18, so we argue about stupid things, but we don't. We get along when we play.
Who kind of drives the car, so to speak?
Neither. I mean, people will be like, the forward is the captain, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the thing.
Yeah.
We just whatever.
What other kind of things like that in foosball that are like typical beliefs that are basically myths where you Like the forward's always in charge, or this means that, or this. What other kind of things exist that you think are just kind of? I think that's BS. I don't think that the forward's always in charge.
No.
It's a team.
Let me think. I think for mixed, the guy does not have to play front. I think a girl could do better. I don't think that the guy has to take control and feel embarrassed if he needs to switch because he's not doing well. I think that's something that happens a lot.
Who did you play mixed with this weekend?
I played with Kevin.
Is he playing forward or back?
We switch, actually.
Okay.
So that's cool about it.
Do you have a preference?
I like to play front.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to win playing front.
Is it fun beating other masters as a woman playing forward and mixed?
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's actually smarter for me to play front because it is harder for me to score on master men rather than master ladies who are usually playing goal for mixed anyways. So I think it is actually an advantage.
And he's really good in the back anyway.
Yes, he is probably the best right now shooting at the back.
I think so too. I think Kevin Romero is one of the severely underrated players that are out there. People know that he's like, oh, he's good and you're probably not going to beat him and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think the typical foosball player is a fan who watches a lot. So they only know what they see on the table.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I know how to play, but I mostly find joy in watching and doing other stuff away from the table. And I've seen him just destroy people.
Yeah, he has a lot of talent.
He's really good.
I think once he fixes some things, he will be pretty hard to beat.
Like what?
He's working on a 2 to 5. He's starting to use it, but I think once he perfects it, he'll do. Which I don't know why he's getting a 2 to 5 because his 2-bar is so good, but whatever.
When you play singles, are you passing from the back 2 to 5, or are you shooting?
I'm shooting. I'm working to be more accurate on my shooting because the rebound affects me a lot. They get it off the rebound. So I do work on some tricky passing. I've been working on a 2 to 5. I haven't really used it. I haven't needed to yet. And like off the wall, off the back wall, I would like to.
How much of your game is just freestyle, just because you like to just let it fly?
My 5-bar, pretty much. I mean, I don't usually think on it.
Just let it rip.
Yeah. And I usually don't on my 3, but then when it needs to be done, I get serious and wait, and
And you shoot a push shot, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen you playing around on empty tables, and I know that you like to do other stuff too.
I do.
What are some of your other favorite non-push shots?
I like to shoot a pull shot. It's actually fun for me, but I've never shot anything else, so I'm sure that's why. And I do shoot a rollover too. I started to shoot my pull out the back in some matches, and sometimes I'll shoot a pull if I'm way ahead in the front. I think it's kind of fun.
How long until we see a pull shot in a match, like a match?
Yeah. I'm thinking I want to do it soon. Just like one tournament, I would just switch it up for once I get like a little bored. I'm gonna switch it up.
A little bored. Does it also rely on the opponent, or does okay?
Yeah, I have had to switch once. Me and my mom in Florida State, I had to switch once.
You were playing against her or with her?
No, I was playing with her.
Okay.
In women's doubles to get to the final.
And you switched to a pull
shot.
Were they just blocking the push too well, or was something just not feeling right?
Yeah, blocking my shot too well.
And it went okay?
Yeah, we good.
With the pull shot? Sweet. So I don't know. What else? What other questions are there that exist out there in the world with Sully playing foosball that you never get to answer? That you just is there anything in particular that you just want to talk about that you never get the chance to talk about? It could be about foosball. It could be about not foosball. It could be whatever.
I don't know.
Because I'm sure you get asked the same questions all the time, right?
Yeah.
How much do you practice? What do you practice?
Yeah, sure.
How do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah, I get that. Well, a lot of people wonder if I will switch my shot. And I don't know. I think this year I've grown more. Like, I've actually grown height-wise more.
Mm-hmm.
So my shot is switching a little bit. It's getting weird. So that's why I am working on my other shots just in case I need to back up. And I want to have an equally as good shot as my push. But I also don't know if that will ever happen. Just because I feel like my push shot is way better than all of my other shots. Like, I think I always will.
Why do you? I mean, I know you've been playing foosball forever, literally.
Yeah.
What is it about the mechanics of the push shot that just made that your shot?
Well, since I was so short, I never stood on a stool. I was only a chair, and then that was too high, so I was on the ground. And I had to grab the rod, like, underneath.
Gotcha.
I couldn't even see. And so I had to do it like that. And from that grip, I couldn't really spray my push.
Yeah.
I had to square it off. And so that's why I've shot it like this my whole life. But now it's changed up a little. My grip's changed. I could do different things. I could spray it, whatever. But yeah, I've never had a need to change it, at least so far.
Right. And you said you didn't use a stool.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of the players in recent years, the smaller players, younger players, whatever you want to call it, use a stool. How come you didn't use a stool? Was it just not an option, or was it like...
I mean, we just didn't. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. And I think that might have been a disadvantage for me.
Not using the stool?
No, using a stool.
Oh, okay.
Because once you get off of it, you're not that height.
Yeah.
And
it's like having a 12-inch growth spurt overnight.
Exactly. And that's what I was worried with Sam, but he did fine, so don't count him in this. But I think I would have done worse if...
Is he not using a stool
No, he's not
anymore?
using it anymore.
I did not know this.
He's grown, though.
Haven't seen, How tall is he now?
I don't know.
Is he your height? I don't even know
No,
the
he's
age
not my
difference.
height, but I don't know how old he is, 12.
Okay. Is he really? 12?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll have to ask
he's
him.
killing it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really good.
I was worried about his rollover, but yeah.
I've only played him once, and I didn't win. And we won't talk about it. It's not about me. This is not about me. But I have no shame in losing. He's a really good player. And you said you're taller now. How tall are you?
5'3.5", 5'4".
Okay. All right, cool. Sweet. You turned 18 this year.
Yes.
And so you are, can you play junior anymore as 18?
I can't. I can.
And in the World Cup, what's the limit on that?
19.
So next year.
So it was kind of tricky for me to decide this year. Last World Cup was easy. My goal was to be on the women's team.
Mm-hmm.
I know I could do better for I can contribute more to the women's team. And that's why I did it. I think, I want to do better in women's singles this year. I got third last World Cup. I mean, we won the team event, but I would like to win that, obviously. But John O'Brien and people are trying to convince me to play under 19 to be the first girl to win. The first girl to win this singles and then win women's singles. So that is a little barrier there. I don't know what I'll do about that, but I think I'll still stick to the women's team.
You can only play in one,
I
right?
can't do both, which sucks, but I think I'd rather win women's singles.
I would too. and I think, nothing against John O'Brien. Clearly he has a horse in the race. He's in charge of all the youth stuff. Yeah. And we love fully what he does and support it fully. I would think that, if you don't feel that, why are we playing there?
Yeah.
That's one of my opinions with foosball in general. When people say, well, I'm a rookie, but I don't feel like a rookie and I want to play in other events. And my thinking, and I'm actually curious what you think about this too, is if you're not proud to wear the jacket, then just don't play the event.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be proud and you're not going to celebrate that you won it,
then
just don't play it.
No, I agree.
And so if you feel more like this event means more, then
definitely.
I think, that's cool.
And I could go out and literally won. It's single elimination.
Yeah.
That could happen, but
it's not likely.
I hope not.
Yeah. It's a multi-table, right?
Yes.
So you play on probably Tornado as your home table?
Yes, of course.
And if you did not have Tornado as your home table, what's your next, I don't know if favorite is the right word, but what would you pick as your home table if Tornado was not an option?
Leonhardt, definitely.
Yeah, why
it's most similar and it's faster. My passing is good on that one too. The other tables are very hard for me, but out the back is always a struggle just because of the ramp and all this, but Leonhardt for sure.
What table do you most, what's the word? I don't want to say hate, but what do you look forward to the least?
I think everyone would say Bonzini.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Bonzini. No. There are some weirdos out there who like it.
Yes,
they don't want to be called weirdos, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe they're just trying to be unique. Maybe they're just lying. They don't like Bonzini.
I think you're on the right track there. I think it's more like they just like to be hated.
Yeah, no,
so,
yeah.
But if you can play well on a Bonzini, then you can do things.
You can win anything.
Yeah.
Because I won a singles match on Bonzini actually.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised about. If I could set up a ball and it could stay there, I would do way better and I'd feel way more comfortable. But the ball does not stop moving.
Yeah, they're like oblong
yes.
and cork.
Yes.
Or something like that.
You can dent the table in with your thumb, though.
Yeah. And the weird part about that is it's one of the most expensive tables that you can buy.
Really. I mean, I could see that, but the rods are just so heavy and.
Yeah, with Bonzini, I'll stop talking trash about him after this comment, but it's just too appropriate to not say it's you versus the other player and the table.
Yes, and I also it's way more of a disadvantage playing their country because I'm like probably a nice beginner on Bonzini, maybe a rookie, and they're master on that table.
But you're so good on Tornado that it balances out.
I think it does make up a little. Yeah, make up a little for it.
We need to do a tournament check. Are we getting called up for a match? Okay, cool. I saw the phone light up out of my periphery, so I just wanted to make sure.
I think they said they're not going to call until we're done.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we're 20 minutes in, and we can, if you have anything more to chat about, we can. Or if you don't, then we don't have to.
I mean,
what's next on your foosball calendar?
Worlds. Yeah, Worlds.
Can we say who we're playing with there? Or is
yeah,
that...
sure. I mean, all of my partners.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Sure,
some people don't like to talk about
care.
that. They just okay.
Women's. I'm playing women's doubles. I'm playing with Hannah. I played with her last Worlds. We got third. It's the first time we played together. Women's classic. I'm playing with Midori.
Okay.
Midori's gonna play with Jessica in women's doubles. They've won the past 2 years. Expert doubles. I'm playing with Ben. I played him in the finals of expert singles at Kentucky's tour kickoff. Yes. Pro doubles. I'm playing with Mikey Bilarakis, which will be fun.
That is a strong partner.
Yes, definitely. I'd like to win that.
And you're playing. Did you say pro?
Yeah.
What'd you say? Yeah, he's a good. I haven't seen him play in years, but when I saw him play, I think y'all will mesh well together.
I hope so. I don't want to say I want to win because obviously everyone wants to.
Right.
But I think I'm going to kick him to goalie. So
you're going to kick him.
I'm going to try to play forward.
He's not a bad goalie.
No,
he'll be quite okay.
Well, what's good about that is we can switch, and it will be equally as good. What else is there? I don't know what else. Mixed. I'm playing with Kevin. I've been playing with him in mixed, and I don't know if I'm playing. I don't think I have an open doubles partner yet.
Cool.
Yes.
One last question.
Yeah.
And take as much time as you want. So you've been playing your whole life.
Yeah.
And from the outside looking in, it still looks like you're very excited about the game.
Yeah.
You care about every single point. It still matters a lot. And I look around and I see some people lose that fire after a few years, especially like once they get into the big is from expert to pro, and then they like just fizzle out and they don't care. How do you stay so passionate about foosball after all these years? Because you have other stuff going on too that are not related to this. You're just turning 18. You got all these things, all these other things in life. How does foosball remain so important?
Well, this year especially for me was special because I won my first women's singles at a major. And that was my goal for obviously my whole life. I've been getting so many second places. And so I won that. And that was a big deal. And then I won nationals. And my goal was to win women's doubles at every tournament this year. I did lose nationals, but I won singles. But now that I've won all my women's events that I want to win men's now. So that's my goal. I keep setting more every time. And I love it. I loved it my whole life. It's something I look forward to. When I leave here, I already am ready to go to another. I've gone to a lot of tournaments this year because of that reason. Yeah, it's something to look forward to. And it's not even just playing. It's also everyone that I see. All my friends.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, I hate losing. That's one part that I very much dislike because I am not the best loser anymore. But
you stop losing. That probably solve that problem.
But yeah, I like to win so much that it doesn't get boring to me. And I don't want to stop at pro. I want to become pro in men's. I want to become master in men's. So I want to keep winning men's events.
So you just keep setting those goals.
Yes.
And as far as I can tell, you keep hitting them.
Yeah.
How far are you from being a pro in men's? By the way, it's traditional points.
Yeah,
the men's don't have their own division.
Yeah. And
You'll be in traditional points. You're shooting to be pro and master also. You said.
Yeah, I think I will be master.
You got to be getting close.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be closer in singles because I've won 2 and I've gotten second in 2. And I think in doubles I'm not as close, but I think that she'll bump me up soon. I'm sure. which kind of sucks. But I mean, I'll just win pro singles.
Yep. There we go. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for Mom hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
FoosTalk Live would like to express sincere thanks to Clay Tumey and special guest Sullivan Rue. Keep listening for more awesome interviews on FoosTalk Live. FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos, all rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, Protectoflex, 518 Prince, Foosballers the Movie, Foosball Clubs USA, and the USTSO. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live.
In the meantime,
we'll see you foozin'.